What is going on, Roland Empire? Here, guys, to give you a video and just one that's like, I don't know if I really want to do the spoilers. You'll know with the title. When the title comes out, you'll know what kind of video it is. And I want to see if it's maybe something where it's a second review for sure. I was able to get the chance to see Tenet again. I liked the movie enough the first time that I wanted to give it a second chance. And I know people are wondering, why do I have to see a second time? It all varies, okay? One, that's someone that likes somehow, in a way, sees cinema, film. You'll give it a second chance if you can in that way. And I really wanted to give it because it really had the potential. And there was a certain scene, with the whole, you know, that I just want to say enough where John David Washington kind of faces himself in a way that was like, I need to see it again. And like, did it hold up, and how does it feel like, all that kind of stuff. And I looked into the movie now knowing like how I can relax and just enjoy it. And I really still do like it. It's interesting because, whether if you study or if you just understood what the plot is, it really is that like the mechanism of the film is what's more like, it's intriguing. The story is really good, but yeah, you think like, you're like, oh, okay, they're kind of getting like a good one, just a good average, or like a just something really interesting of a story. But it's really, yeah, it's what Christopher Nolan designs that really gives it that. That's what you're like selling in it, and it's there's still like, you should be like, I understood the movie, I understand what everything's about. No, there's still things that like, I still need to pick up more. But realizing what the story is, it kind of makes it easier to flow. And it's interesting to know how certain things do get rewarded when you realize certain expositions. You're like, why is this full on exposition? But the exposition kind of hints certain things like that. And then again, like realizing now with Robert Pattinson and John David Washington what kind of chemistry they have, you're like, oh, okay. So viewing it now, you're like, now, like, you're like, this is why they said this. This is why, they're acting this kind of way. There's those kind of things you pick up. It's a lot, again, in like the nuances, when you see nuances of what kind of change. And that's what I find interesting. Like, at least I'm like, okay, some of this are like, it's still could have been better. Like film wise, a little bit better in the editing, the hearing. I could still hear more than what I thought. What a lot of people were saying. Like, at least for me, I heard more of the dialogue. I guess maybe just me paying attention or something. But I was able to pick that up. But I know there's still inconsistencies, and I wish there was more still of a background story just for these characters. But it was really that, like, the nuances that would really go for me. That I'm like, this is what's kind of rewarding me in that way where I'm enjoying it better, it's flowing better. And then even I'm like, when I thought the movie was a bit too long, still kind of is, but now that when you kind of set the expectations, you have fun with it because you're just like, man, Christopher Nolan, like who would have thought? He's just going, man. It's again, like I say, balls to the wall. It's balls to the wall in that sense. So you have a good time. And yes, between like Ludwig Göransson and Christopher Nolan, they keep the film is really fresh, and it's just that kind of enjoyment. And it is a good blockbuster movie. It's interesting, like, to say like how it still ranks. I really think it's a thing. Obviously, like, if Inception and Tenet had a universe, it's that kind of thing. And I do really like that side of Nolan. That's what I like of Nolan's work. I do admit that, like, it's still interesting to think where I would rank this up. That all varies. That's if if you want to enjoy the movie, see it again. If you just see it one's enough, two is enough. But for the second time at least, I still just had a good time. I still the scenes that I were waiting for really still kind of paid off. Um, there's a lot of it kind of glued, obviously, with the action set pieces and all. But yeah, like, if you can pick up like more, like, realizing now who is really like the good guy, who are you really kind of rooting for, and then realizing really importance of how the stories, yeah, the story can still be tricky, but if you understand what the story's like, what's going on, and realize again, if you go with the themes, if you go with themes and all that, and you pick up these kinds of things, you'll understand more of like what the film's trying to tell, that kind of way. It's tricky though. We all see film. That's why it's whatever you call it, objective, subjective. Film is objective, subjective, of all that stuff. That's my version, and I'm curious to see if anybody just kind of picked up on more things, picked up on like certain, things they were keeping from you, and then they actually told you, and then you're like, that makes sense. Why, they know this kind of stuff, or what's the importance of why did they do that kind of thing? So, if you if you understood all the movie for all that, let me know. This is how I understood the movie, and I really did like, more of the film of realizing at least why the story was giving us what it gave. It did work for me. It definitely did work for me in that sense. And yeah, just let me know, guys. Let me know my thoughts and opinions. These are just my thoughts and opinions. All this in the comments below. And as always, roll an empire. Laugh, smile, repeat.